What were the facts you learned in school that are no longer true? The Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space. But space is visible from the Great Wall of China. I never understood why people said this. It doesn't make any sense. Because the wall is not wide, just long. Right, like if you could see the wall. You'll definitely be able to see highways and stuff. I was taught in grade school that we had to know the metric system because the United States was going to adopt it like any day now. For sure, that was about 30 years ago. The US is moving towards the metric system, inch by inch. I mean, the US government passed the Metric Conversion Act in 1975 that officially made the metric system the preferred way to measure things. The change just hasn't been happening in everyday life. Look, if we adopted the metric system, when the temp hit 100 degrees, we would all die. Our lakes will boil. Do you want that? Food pyramid. So I'm not supposed to eat 700,000 calories a day. Edit. Okay guys, I meant kilocalories. I didn't even know that was a thing. Seriously, I could never wrap my head around that. 45-56 servings of bread a day? Uck's sake. What a shit kind of food pyramid did your classroom have? When I was a kid we were taught that penguins' feet didn't freeze because of their circulation. Turns out they have antifreeze proteins in their blood that bind to ice crystals and stop them from growing, so their blood stays liquid well below 0 degrees. Source: worked at a university research center with a guy that did his PhD in antifreeze proteins. Edit. Proteins, not enzymes. Sorry, biochemistry. Does this mean I can put penguin blood in my car? Do it and tell us the results. I don't know how much common is it, but if the earth were 1 centimeter closer to the sun, we would be burned. 1 centimeter further from the sun we would be frozen thing. No, we wouldn't. The distance is changing all the time. During a year. No one better jump than S. Forget jumping. If you're a couple of inches shorter or taller than your friend, at least one of you is arced. Elliptical orbit? Interesting. Not sure if the flat earthers will agree though. There is a country called Czechoslovakia. This will always remain stuck in my head till the day I die, and yet so much of it is out of date. Edit. Yeah, I am aware that some of it is straight up wrong. They played a bit fast and loose to get the song to fit the tune. My point was more that a number of valid mentions it makes are out of date and it misses a number of new countries. Also, it's a damn catchy tune, so there's that. I don't even have to click that. I know that's Yakko Warner singing the country's song. Yes, I remember this so vividly. Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Italy, Turkey, and Greece. The memories. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Nope, just a slogan paid for by Kellogg's. Edit. To be clear, I don't think you should skip breakfast or that breakfast is unimportant. To think that would be just stupid. However, it should be known that this was a paid slogan to sell breakfast foods, not based on any facts at the time. It's probably best to eat 6-8 small meals of a variety of types and sources, none of them being particularly important, but important as a whole. Edit. Fixed auto-corrected word. What? Also, John Harvey Kellogg invented cornflakes because he believed that eating bland food would stop people from masturbating. And now frosted flakes are a thing. Take that, you self-flagellating Calvinistic prick. I jizz uncontrollably after eating a hearty bowl of frosted flakes and 7 other breakfasty foods, all by myself. They're more than good. They're grow-huggy-8. Edit. Row. Or, who would have thought it'd be about spunk at the breakfast table? Maybe now my dad can be proud of me, but I wouldn't count on it. Trust me, you don't want to get your hopes up of him getting his hopes up about me. I know from experience. Anyway, don't fail your finals or life in general. Have a nice day. The tongue has different taste zones. Oh, I remember that. I tried that myself many times. I was never able to replicate the experiment. Could not imagine back then that there was any chance that information written in a book could be wrong. So I concluded that my tongue is broken or I don't know how to experiment. Maybe if you'd tried tasting something other than N you'd have got better data? Thanks filthy stranger E2. Multiple golds you mad bastards. I see we've found the guy who's studied AI learned in school. That two blue-eyed parents can't have a brown-eyed child. Apparently not only is this pure bullshit, the genetics of eye color is more complex than that. It led to a lot of kids being rejected by their real fathers before DNA testing became available. My son was taught that you had to have the same blood type as one of your parents. He told his teacher that his dad is O+, I'm A+, and yet he's O. And the teacher gave him a funny look and told him that maybe we should have a talk. He came home in a panic and asked if he was the result of an affair. I was so pissed. Of course I had to be sarcastic about it. You figured it out. Dad cheated on me and got pregnant, which is the only way this could happen because you look just freaking like him. He calmed down, did a bit of research, then apologized. Sounds to me like his teacher is the one who owed you an apology. Teachers deserve a hell of a lot of latitude when it comes to matching up their education with what parents want. But insinuating that a kid might be the result of extramarital activities is pretty yucking inappropriate. Christ, I hope you had a talk with that teacher. Pluto was a planet when I was at school. Of course, Jerry. It's a cold celestial dwarf. Go to mine that sweet plutonium. Drill baby drill. You're not gonna have a calculator everywhere you go. 80,085. That on the other hand, still holds good. 80,085 will be 80,085. You're born with a set number of brain cells and that number can only diminish throughout your life. Anti-alcohol, I remember version of that. You have to learn in cursive writing. Higher schooling will not accept anything that isn't cursive. Yes, I remember teachers racing students in handwriting. Teachers would write the alphabet as cursive and students would do it in print. This was the only argument they used as to why cursive was better. Then high school came and no one wrote in cursive and everything we handed in had to be typed. Jokes on them. I combine cursive and print when I write. Sometimes even I can't read what I wrote. And here I am grading papers that are barely legible because of poor handwriting. Screw cursive. Teach kids some freaking penmanship for crying out loud. Just needed to vent. Edit. Just to add, this is at the college level. USA. Edit 2. Okay, I know most of you type lab reports and I agree with you. However, these are not reports in the sense of writing your procedure out, etc. These reports are fill in the blank like this example here. Edit 3. I was definitely not expecting this to blow up like this, so I should clarify a few things. I'm a TAFE for a 100 level engineering class. These labs are completely ridiculous. Unfortunately I have no control over that. And after reading a lot of what you all have said, pen and paper has somewhat lost its place now that everything is going digital. I would still argue that good penmanship is still needed in certain jobs, and it simply makes life a little easier for those who have to read it. With that said, my signatures still look like chicken scratch and no two signatures are ever the same. Christopher Columbus was the first dude to discover America, and tried to bargain with the S but couldn't work it out because of cultural differences. In grade school during the 70s, we were also taught that he sailed west to prove the world was round. We were taught that in the 2000s as well. What a load of crap. I have a graduate level college textbook for teachers that also states the same thing. It was treated as fact. The book was published in 2015. I didn't learn this in school, but I heard it often repeated on things like the Discovery Channel and Animal Planet when I was a kid. I always heard that the Komodo dragon, the largest living lizard on Earth, was such a successful predator because its mouth was so filthy and septic that the microbes in the saliva would cause fatal infections on its prey. The dragon would track the wounded animal until it eventually collapsed and would eat it. This, as it turns out, is not true, or at the very least not the whole story. It takes days for microbial infections to begin to show symptoms in an animal as large as, say, a water buffalo. But animals were collapsing hours after being bitten, not days. Microbial infections from their saliva couldn't explain how rapidly these large mammals were being killed. This lie was repeated throughout my childhood, and I even heard it repeated at the San Diego Zoo as recently as last year. As it turns out, Komodo dragons are able to hunt so successfully because their saliva contains venom that they produce from their venom glands. I thought that until this very moment. I never felt so betrayed as when I learned it. Apparently they didn't even know about the venom glands until 2009, with some evidence of venomous proteins only going back to 2005. Zoologists were pretty surprised to learn this too. For decades, conventional wisdom was that were only two species of venomous lizards, the Gila monster and beaded lizard. Then they started looking for venom proteins in saliva. Turns out instead of two venomous lizards, it's actually more like 1,300. Also, almost all snakes have venom. Yikes. I have gotten walked all over due to the just because you're nice to people doesn't mean they will be nice to you. My husband and I have put our lives on hold for other people's lives far too many times for others. My Phil finally had to tell us, me in particular, that we won't ever be able to grow in our own lives if we keep trying to solve other people's problems. And we aren't really helping those people by trying to solve their problems. We are teaching them that their poor actions and decisions have no consequences. Now if you can support and not put your needs on the back burner at the same time, by all means go for it. But I'm not the kind of person who can balance this well, and will do things that put my own development at risk to try to help other people develop themselves.